Let's talk about what happens to main universe Peter Parker when he was never bit by the radioactive spider. Recently in the end of the Spider-Verse, Shathra the Wasp Queen had been converting spider people one by one to her side, and in doing so actually got Pete stabbed with this special blade. The blade doesn't kill him, but it severs his connection to the web of life, and in doing so completely rewrites his history. That same ESU presentation where Pete's bitten by a radioactive spider, only this time he gets a little glare in his eyes, and as he raises his hand up, the spider falls by him harmlessly. He crawls away to bite Cindy Moon, and Cindy Moon only. Now Pete's nailing the presentations about the radioactive experiments he saw. Because he's a know-it-all and he's brown-nosing the teachers, he still gets bullied relentlessly by Flash Thompson. Overall, Pete's happy. He doesn't go out and spend time with friends. No, he'd rather spend time with his aunt and uncle. And we see him one night deep in his studies as he's enjoying the new microscope that Uncle Ben bought him, and they're watching the news about the new Spider-Woman. All of a sudden, their front door comes flying open. The robber's holding the Parkers at gunpoint and is telling them to hold their hands where they can see him, that nobody moves. Peter is frantically telling him that this microscope he has is worth a lot of money, and he's trying to explain this as the robber turns and faces him. May screams at him not to point a gun at her son. Even though Pete was never bitten by the spider and he hadn't heard the words "with great power comes great responsibility," he still had a hero deep inside of him. As he runs and dives at the robber to save his Aunt May, the armed assailant turns and shoots at Peter as he's flying through the air. Now, Ben's able to knock him out as May is frantically holding Peter's limp body, and she's screaming at Ben to call an ambulance. After they arrive and wheel Peter away, we see the Parkers gathered in the hospital where they find out that Pete's going to live, but he may never walk again. Ben assures her that they don't know his boy and that he's a Parker and he's going to give it everything he has. And sure enough, with enough time, Peter Parker is up and walking once more. Only he does have to use a crutch now. Because of this, he ends up getting picked on worse. He's being told that he's weak, that he's pathetic, when all of a sudden his bully gets slammed into a locker and told to leave Peter Parker alone, that he's off limits. As none other than Flash Thompson is taking up for Pete and telling him he heard about what he did for his aunt and uncle and how he's the bravest kid he knows. Just like that, Pete is a hometown hero. The school loves him. He's sitting at the popular kids table. He's getting asked out on dates by Liz Allen. All the while getting to live a nice, quiet, normal life with his aunt and uncle. Now one day Sandman wanders into Midtown High where Silk shows up and saves the day. And Pete's absolutely blown away by seeing her. He cannot believe how amazing this young girl who is his age is. And as all the students are singing her praises, J. Jonah Jameson of course is calling her a foreign terrorist. Flash is teasing Pete because it honestly seems like he's obsessed with Silk and wonders if he's going to start a fan club, and Pete tells him that he should. Flash tells him what a joke that is. With that big brain of his, he should be helping her out, not starting some dumb old fan club. Pete takes that message to heart. As Pete's working on his gadgets, Aunt May and Uncle Ben assume it's a school project, and they look in and think of how proud they are of Peter. Marvel at how he's bounced back from such a tragedy. He has great grades, he has amazing friends, he's thriving. To see Pete finishing up his projects and putting his brilliant brain to use, he's making web shooters, spider tracers, and most importantly of all, his very own Silk signal. But when he activates, it alerts her spider sense and tells her somebody wants to communicate. So Silk shows up and meets Peter, and he tells her how inspired that she made him. He tells her how much of a tech guy he is and how he really thinks he could do her some good. While Silk is appreciating everything that Pete's offering, she wants to know why he's doing it. He tells her he sees the way that J. Jonah Jameson talks about her, how he bullies her, and he was once on the same end of the stick that she was, but on his lowest day, somebody that he never expected came by and picked him back up. They lent him a helping hand, and he wants to be that for Silk. And it turns out they make one hell of a team. While Silk was already talented, it turns out Pete's gadgets make her life 10 times easier. But all of this extra work didn't distract Pete at all from his grades. And his Aunt May and Uncle Ben get to watch Peter walk across the stage at graduation and tell him firsthand how proud they both are. Now, Pete has earned a full ride from the Oscorp scholarship, and he meets Norman firsthand. He tells Peter that he's keeping an eye on his progress, and if he keeps going the way he is right now, he's got a guaranteed job when he graduates college. And that leads us to flash forward to current day, where we see Peter Parker, who is the employee of the month at Oscorp. Where we see Pete successfully balancing his life of being a genius scientist, but still helping in every way he can. As he still provides the tech, he's still the guy in the chair for everybody's favorite wall crawler, Silk.